The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
I'm very fortunate to be joined with none other than Royce Isaacs. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for your time.
Oh yeah, no problem. I'm glad it took a second to coordinate. You've been asking me to have me on for a while, but I'm glad we were able to make it work, man. I appreciate your patience and everything, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like I said, you're a busy man. You fight all over the world. You've just recently been on the trip to the UK, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Yep, absolutely. I've been all over the place this weekend. I'll be in Spokane and Vegas and stuff like that, and then next week in Philly. So I'm all over the place, man.
Yeah. Talk about the UK. You was with Rev Pro. You fought this man, Luke Jacobs.
Yeah, Luke is a beast, man. I know he's someone that I've been following for a minute here. He's a big strong boy like me, and I always like a good Haas match like that. Rev Pro is really like a top-notch, top-class type of promotion. So being able to finally wrestle in the UK for the first time, it had been kind of on the bucket list for a minute, and I'm glad it was able to get coordinated. And hopefully I can come back and do it again. I'd like to stay for a little bit longer.
Yeah, how was the weather for you?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. I made sure I brought a beanie and a coat and everything like that. But I'm pretty warm-blooded, so even though us Californians usually are pretty weak with the weather, I did all right with it. It wasn't too bad.
How long was you was over for? Was it a week or a weekend or?
No, just a weekend. I just had the Rev Pro show. I would have liked to stay a little bit longer, and hopefully next time I can. But there was I had some other opportunities in the U.S. and things just worked out that way where it was just kind of a weekend deal.
I mean, you have, like we mentioned just recently, you've been pretty much all over the world. You've been in Japan, UK, America. You just to name a
Canada,
few.
Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, think of some of the companies you've been in as well. You've been in Defy, NWA, you've been in AEW, you've been MLW, you've been everywhere pretty much. Rev Pro.
yeah, Rev Pro, DDT, PWG, like pretty much any big American indie I've been on, and I've worked with in at least some capacity any of the major TV companies as well, like AEW. I did Ring of Honor a few times back in the day, and more recently, but like back when Ring of Honor was an independent thing, I had an Impact match a few, like 5-6 years ago. So I've got an interesting CV if you look at it, I guess.
You've been your former NWA tag team champion, you're a DDT world champion, you're former Defy tag team champion. Like you've just said, your resume is quite high. You're a high profile man, in my opinion. And you are the king of the suplex, in my opinion. Who was it? Was it Jonah, known as Bronson Reed? I've seen on your Twitter. You did. That must take some serious strength.
Yes, sir. I pride myself in my strength, and I always grew up enjoying a good suplex, and that's my style. I do a lot of, I like technical mat wrestling, and I like big throws, and if you like that, then I'm the guy for you.
Literally, I mean, like you've just said, you love a good suplex, but you seem to have suplexed some of the biggest guys in the wrestling history. Like,
I think, I take pride in that though. I do, like, if I'm wrestling someone and they're large, I do go out of my way to make sure that, like, I give it that Royce Isaacs stamp and I throw them, because a lot of these guys, they've never been thrown like that. They've never been handled like that. They've never been tossed around like that. And, obviously I work really hard at it, but I also do know strength is also somewhat like a genetic blessing. Like, some people lift for years and aren't able to get super strong. So I think I'd be putting my talents to waste if I didn't use them. And it's something I do take pride in. I do work really hard on. And if you're a big boy and you get in the ring with me, get ready to be thrown.
I mean, like you just said, and I've been following your work for the last couple of years. When I noticed you, and you are one your partner, is it Jarrell? What's his I can't pronounce
Jarrell
it.
Nelson.
That's it. I couldn't pronounce his last name. I'm a big fan of the tag team that you do with him.
Yeah, West Coast Wrecking Crew. We've been tagging now for over 6 years. We've been going around the world with that too, and he's a hell of a talent. I think we really complement our each other's styles really well.
Yeah, and like you've just said, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. There's you and the partner, like the third member who I like to have been known as is Tom Lawler. This guy.
Yeah.
Your relationship. Yeah. That was you with hair.
That was me with hair. I used to have hair. I used to have blonde hair way back in the day. I've kind of had all the different looks, but I think the bald is here to stay. It's much easier, and I don't know. I like the look, and as time goes on, hair recedes, but I took it into my own hands.
Talk to me about your relationship with Tom Lawler. How did that come about?
Well, the relationship with Tom used to be a really good thing, and Jarrell and I came into New Japan strong, and Tom scouted us out, and he saw something in us, and we became part of Team Filthy. And I think especially when you think of Team Filthy, you think of Tom, Jarrell, and myself, and we've really done a lot of stuff together. We've done a lot of 6-man tags together, and that was kind of like the core unit. Tom really did teach me a lot, and he helped me out a lot. And we did the G1 tour together, and I thought we had this kind of inseparable bond. But now he's off tag teaming with Fred Rosser, and I'm not really sure where his head's at. But hopefully we can kind of have some come back to the light kind of moment here, because Fred Rosser, he's a dosser.
Yeah. Talk to me about Forbidden Door 2023, because Adam Cole should have had a match with what's it called? Tom Lawler. No.
Yeah.
And obviously MJF came in, sent you and Tom to attack Adam. How did that come about with you going to AEW that with just private before Forbidden Door, and then it got scrapped? How did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Adam Cole's deal is, but if I got stomped out like that, I would certainly want revenge. But he got a little throat tickle or something and pulled out of the match. And I do feel bad for Tom, regardless of how me and him, regardless of how our relationship is right now, because I thought Tom absolutely deserved that big high profile match, and I thought that was really. It's really a shame that was never circled back to. And I mean, if I'm Adam Cole, heal up that body, fix up that body, and get good to go, because you got your ass whipped.
Literally. And was there any ever more plans after the match? Like, if it had happened, were you, Tony, and everyone?
I mean, not that I've heard of. I would, if Tom and I can get back on the same page, I would love to revisit that, because I do think he deserves that. But me and him aren't really talking every day right now, so I don't know what the deal is. That's a question for him.
Okay. So this is one match that I liked. It's from Battle in the Valley from New Japan 2023 with the West Coast Wrecking Crew against. I really like that match. That's probably one of my favorites from you guys.
Yeah, Motor City. They're. I mean, that's a team that when I got into the game, I was looking up to, and I've been a fan of for a really long time. But it's that when your idols become your rivals type of thing. I thought we had it there. We did not. They're one of the greatest tag teams of all time, if not the greatest, for a reason, and they pulled it out. But I do think it was a pretty crazy match. It was like 8 minutes of just smash and dash and go. And I would really like to get another shot at them. They're 2-0 over Jarrell and I right now. They face us at West Coast Pro and at New Japan, and they've gotten a couple on us. But I think we get that third shot. Third time's the charm. We can get it back on them.
Yeah, I mean, like you've just mentioned, it was just 8 minutes of pure, just quick and fast, and just yeah, I like that match. And you've got a bit. Speaking of matches, you've got a very, very, very big match coming up at Mania weekend for GC. I think GCW, Josh Barnett, Bloodsport partnership, or however you want to call it, against this man, Minoru Suzuki. How does one prepare for a match like that?
You do a fight camp. You prepare for war. You know, that's what Suzuki is, and he's someone that I have faced before. I faced him in my hometown in Denver, but it's different when it's on that Bloodsport stage. You know, I've literally just been treating it like a fight camp. I've been training at Hayastan MMA. I've been training with Josh when I can get when we get our schedules lined up. I've been just taking arms and, you know, trying to tap people out. And, you know, I think it's a thing where I just have to be in the best condition humanly possible and be ready for a fight, because when you're in there with a legend that has the record that Suzuki has and has the reverence, you know, in the industry that Suzuki has, you just have to be ready to go. So, you know, my best preparation is just literally working as hard as I can, working on all my catch wrestling, you know, getting as good of a shape like I'm going to, you know, go to Jiu-Jitsu Worlds or something like that. That's, you know, that's what I'm treating it like, is, you know, a fight camp, and when that bell rings, ding, 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 let's go.
Yeah, was that the only opponent that you got offered, or how did it come about, you and Suzuki? How did it come about for that?
Well, Josh told me, hey, we're thinking of you and Suzuki, and what other response are you going to have except for let's fucking go? You know,
that was very true.
You know what I mean? As soon as I heard that was the matchup, I was like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna start training tomorrow morning. Let's go.
Has this match been planned for quite a while, or last few months, or?
Yeah, last few months. You know, obviously when the Bloodsport card was announced overall, you know, I knew I was on kind of the short list of people. I've been, I think, on every card now since Bloodsport 4, I want to say. And so I knew I was obviously in the mix, but, you know, I guess maybe a couple months ago, a month and a half ago or so, Josh let me know what the deal was. And it was like, yeah, that's an ideal situation. Mania week, it's a big week. That's a big time match on a big time stage. I know that, you know, there's going to be a lot of eyes on that card specifically. And it's a great card. If you look at it top to bottom, it's match after match is absolute madness. So I'm ready for it, you know.
I think it's good how Shayna Baszler has been allowed from WWE to come over, and the opponent that she's got, Masha Slamovic, I can't say her last name, Slamovic,
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge, having a current active roster superstar, especially one that's as accomplished as Shayna and as well regarded as Shayna. Yeah, that was huge. I have no idea how that all came together or who reached out to who, but obviously she's someone that has trained with Josh extensively in the past. That's, you know, one of his main students, and, you know, I'm excited to see it. I'm sure she's really happy to get to work with Josh again. And I think Masha is a really A1 matchup for her. I know that Masha is someone that's been really looking forward to a challenge like that. So I think that's going to be a great clash.
Yeah. I mean, just the whole Mania week itself is going to be, it's a brilliant time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, if you're a wrestling fan, Mania week is what it's all about. And I'm with y'all. Like, it should be a great event. Check out that Bloodsport. I know it's already sold out, so if you want to watch it, get that fight Triller pay-per-view or whatever, and make sure you catch it, because it's going to be absolutely insane.
It's not going to be one to miss. You definitely got to be eyes on that, and I think it's going to be good because you've got yourself on there. You got Johnny, and you got Masha, you got Shayna. Sorry, you got pretty much everyone on that card. You're gonna have
you got Nick Namath.
Yeah, you got all eyes on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some huge matches for sure.
Yeah, have you ever had any offers from like WWE, AEW, Impact, TNA, New Japan?
No, definitely still looking for that offer. Would be lovely. I had a contract with NWA back in the day, but obviously I left that during the pandemic. Asked for my release. I feel like I'm on a lot of people's radars, but nothing solid yet. But that's kind of the next step. That's what I'm looking for.
Speak of your NWA days. Just a big shout out to that there. Who would you say your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling is?
Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling.
I ask this every guest.
That's a great question. For me, Stone Cold definitely has to go on there. Kenta Kobashi. Misawa. And Scott Steiner.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you got Misawa in there.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he's the man. He's one of the heroes of all time for sure.
What's your favorite Misawa match?
Probably one of the ones with Kawada. Either one of the ones with Kawada or one of the ones with Akiyama. They had some absolute bangers.
Yeah. Is there anyone in the world of professional wrestling that you haven't stepped in the ring with that you would like to?
I think top two on my kind of dream opponents list, which a few years ago probably sounded unrealistic, but now the world is quite a bit more open and crazy things happen. I would say Shibata and Nick Namath. So yeah, Katsuyori Shibata and Nick Namath would probably be like my top two dream matches if I can make those happen.
Well, Nick Namath, you're going to be on the same card next week. Speak to Josh, and you might not be Bloodsport next year.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. We'll see.
Yeah. Is there anything that you can announce or tell us for your plans for the rest of 2024?
So there should be some more announcements coming shortly for me, but at the end of May, I'm running a show basically cross promoting with Lucha Libre and Laughs, which is a promotion out of Denver that I do a lot of matches with. That's kind of like my home promotion where I started when I first started wrestling, and it's my 10-year wrestling anniversary. So I'm kind of helping put together a card and some really cool stuff. I can't give out too many details, but it's going to be on May 25th. So if you're in the Denver area, definitely check that out. And we should have some kind of streaming. I can't say exactly where, but there'll be some kind of streaming like the following week, maybe the following Friday or Saturday. We'll have it out to watch, and there should be some really cool surprises and cool stuff. And I just wanted to do something kind of special for to celebrate my 10 years in the business, and hopefully the people are into that and like that. Other than that, obviously I'd like to get back to Japan, and I'd like to get back to the UK later this year, and hopefully lock myself in with some company at some point for a contract and such. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for 2024.
Yeah, that's the goal, like you said. Get your name more out there, explore more countries, and get that contract that you deserve, pretty much, man.
Yes, sir.
Honestly, I couldn't think of more of a hard worker that puts the great I can't speak. The more the great the determination, the great the determination, I can't get the words out, but you know what I mean. The great the determination, the energy, the time. 10 years, and it feels like you've probably been going for a lot longer.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like my first match was yesterday, and sometimes it feels like my first match was 80 years ago. So
yeah, what made you become a professional wrestler?
I mean, I loved it as a kid. That was like something that I was really into when I was growing up, obviously, and I was an amateur wrestler in college, and I played football as well, American football, and once I was out in the real world, just working a normal job, I missed competing, and I kind of always had this like little voice in the back of my head, like professional wrestling, maybe that would be the route for you, and I don't know, the voice kept getting louder and louder, and so one day I ended up checking out a show. This is back when I lived in Denver. I live in Los Angeles now, but I was living in Denver, and I checked out a Lucha Libre and Laugh show, and I was like, I need to get involved in this. So literally the next week, I started training at a local place in Denver, and it was off to the races from then.
Wow. And 10 years on, and you're still kicking ass.
Yes, sir.
I mean, 10 years must have gone by just like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, there's been so many, I don't know, absolutely insane life experiences that I thought I never would have experienced, that I never would have gotten to, that it also has like gone by at a snail's pace in some ways, and in some ways, yeah, it's like you blink and you're like, whoa, I'm 10 years deep.
Yeah, what's some of your fondest memories of professional wrestling over the last 10 years?
I think, like my first time getting out of state, and going on the road with people was really cool. Like it just in Denver, driving to Texas and Utah and all these small little promotions, and getting to know my friends, people that are now my very close friends on the road was really awesome. Obviously, my first tour of Japan with DDT was really cool, especially with how young I was in the business and learning so much on the go and getting to work with some really top-notch talent, and especially talent that now is also has grown with me and is at the top of the game. And DDT was just a really good crew, so that was awesome for me. Obviously, getting to with the NWA was pretty awesome back in 2018, 2019. Like I think they were on a really hot run, and there were some really good people in the locker room, and great people to hang out with and whatnot. And I always had this dream of working for New Japan, so getting to realize that, what more recently, I guess 2021 was when that first started, and now we're 3 years deep of working with them. So I've, I guess I also have to shout out to, like, I was really into, before I started actually wrestling, I was really into PWG. So getting to work there was like oh wow, like I'm on the card, and then getting invited back and whatnot. So I've had these little highlights here and there, and I mean, a lot of the other things is just like getting to know some of the coolest people that I've ever got to know, and some really special human beings, and share moments, whether it's some food after a show or just some conversations backstage and whatnot, and getting to walk with some absolute legends has been, you can't put a price on that.
Yeah. What would you say the most rewarding thing of being a professional wrestler is?
I think the most rewarding thing, I think it's just the feeling when you've left it all out there, you've given your absolute all, and the crowd knows and they sense that, and they give it right back to you. There's not a feeling like that in the world, at least not one that I've found.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that you fought in Mexico, obviously the States, recently in the UK, Japan. What would you say has been the crowd that was like, wow. Do you know what I mean? That's like either electric, energy, the chants, wherever they're saying, shut the fuck up, or some, you know what I mean? What would you say has been the crowd that you thought, wow, these are true fans, they can bring it, this and that? What would you say? What country would you say that bring it?
I don't know if I could narrow it down to one country because every country has some form of rowdy fans that really like get live. Like there are small regional shows all over the U.S. that you'll go to and you'll be like, oh my god, that was a crowd. They like were going crazy all night. They made my job easier. They were loving it. I would say if I had to single out one crowd interaction that I will never forget and that will always stick with me was last year at the 4th of July shows for New Japan Strong in Japan in Korakuen Hall. It was a 6-man tag with myself, Jarrell, and Filthy Tom against Tanahashi, Ishii, and DKC, and we got a USA chant in Japan from Japanese fans, and I think that's something that I'm just like, you can see like on video, I'm like, wait a second, what are they chanting right now? And I don't know, that'll just stick with me, you know, that's an all-time memory for me.
Wow, I mean, Japan, it's the style over there is different, isn't it, compared to the States and the British?
Yeah, I think they're usually not as like they'll cheer a lot. They'll get with you. You'll feel their energy, and it is infectious. It's just a little bit different. But for those USA shows, they really they did it USA style. They did a lot of chants, and it was really cool to see. Like they were like, "Oh no, we understand how your style is, and you're here doing the New Japan Strong. We're gonna chant like your fans," which is really cool. But I do think I don't know. People get so like caught up in this, like, oh, they're quieter over there, or this, that, or they react differently. I think it's just a slight cultural difference where they're very respectful and they don't usually generally make it all about chanting through the show, but it's still the same kind of energy. Like if you really are in tune with it and you feel it, it's their own way of expressing. It's not like anything differently. They just have this like they have this energy of like, please give us your all and fight as hard as you can and show us your best. And if you really like have your ear to the ground and you feel it, like it will motivate you to absolutely go out there and have your best match. So it's just different. I don't know. It's just different as far as experiences go, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So you've been in the business, you've mentioned 10 years now, and obviously in 10 years you must have come across an injury. What would you say your worst injury has been to this date?
I guess my worst injury, like in terms of long-term pain, was I like herniated a disc in my back in a match, and like before my first time I wrestled Suzuki in 2022, I couldn't walk like a week or two before the match, and kind of just had to rehab it and fight through it, and it was really painful for a long time because it's like this is how I make my money, and I just gotta kind of push through. So it ended up really extending. Like I didn't really feel better in terms of my back until more recently. You know, and that's still like a struggle. Like the other week, I just had a back issue from lifting weights and stuff. So it's just something that I have to be aware of, and I have to listen to my body on and be careful moving forward. Because like I've had concussions, I've had a separated shoulder, I've had bursitis in pretty much all my joints. I've had all these like smaller issues, but the back stuff is scary because it'll affect every single day. Like even if you stop, or if you're like, hey, not that I would do this, but if I like retired, it's like that's still gonna affect you in everyday life, because this is the kind of thing where it's like if I can't walk around or stand up, or I had a lot of pain putting on my socks for like a year and a half basically, and like that's scary to be like, oh, I can't put on my shoes just normally, like I have to like position myself in a certain way to even be able to do a basic task. I'd say that's like the scariest thing.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you're on the mend now and don't, mess up or like you've just mentioned, listen to your body and know when to say no. Your relationship with Josh Barnett, how did that come about? Where did you meet? Yeah, talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I met Josh. Gosh, it must have been like the end of 2019. I was still with NWA at the time, but I was doing there's a GCW or Suburban Fight show, so it was like a no ring show, and he liked my match, and we got to talking. Of course, I knew who he was. I've been an MMA fan for years, and I think he appreciated that I had like a humble, respectful, way of approaching, and also he knew that, or I talked to him a little bit about wrestling in college, and so maybe I don't know, a month or two after that, he hit me up and said, "Hey, do you want to come train with me?" We were at the UFC gym, like out in La Mirada, like an hour and a half away. We went out there, trained, me, him, and this guy Eric Hammer, and ever since then, like there's been times, like especially like during the pandemic when things were a little more shut down, I got to train quite a bit more because like, he has a sick he had a sick setup at his home at the time, and when things opened up a little bit, I was still like not wrestling as much, and things were still kind of trying to open up and whatnot. I got down to California MMA and trained with him a lot, and so now it's like a thing where whenever we can get the band together and get some guys together and work hard and
Yeah.
spar and roll and all that. I just was in Brea yesterday with him, Eric Hammer, this world catch champion Angel Verduzco, and we were all doing a bunch of like really really high intensity drill prep, getting ready for Bloodsport. So yeah, Josh he's one of those guys that if you respect the business and if you know come to him in a respectful way and you want to work hard, if you will give him your effort and work your butt off and sweat and all that and grit your teeth and push through it, he's probably the most generous person in the world. Like he will absolutely, he's the kind of guy that'll give you a shirt off your back if you have that right attitude and if you're willing to really push yourself.
Yeah. I mean, you've got that upcoming match next week, so all the best for that. Fingers crossed you'll win.
That's the plan.
Yeah. You've been in AEW. You've not had the chance to go to WWE yet. If you could pick an opponent from WWE or AEW to verse who you've not versed before, who would it be?
I mean, like I said before, I think Shibata is like a clear guy that I would really like to wrestle. And he's on the AEW side, and I would like to make that happen. He's one of the guys that like is kind of like my heroes in wrestling that I really look up to, but he's also a guy that I think I don't know. I just it would be a huge honor, but I would also like I would be in there to win it. I wouldn't just be in there to be like, wow, I was in there. Like he's a guy that I have all the respect in the world for, and I think if you respect someone, you give them your best. So yeah, Katsuyori Shibata is my answer.
Yeah, anyone from WWE?
Oh gosh, they have a bunch of really good talent right now. I guess I would have to lean with Braun Breaker because I'm a Steiner Brothers mark, and I'm such a fan, and I think he's a crazy athlete. So I think that would be a phenomenal match. I guess my other one would probably be LA Knight because we used to be roommates, and I think he's a top talent. I'm glad he's finally getting his recognition. But gosh, he was in the business for almost 20 years before he really, really took off, and I'm really glad that he is getting that recognition. But yeah, I would love to wrestle him one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean, and I asked, like I said earlier, I plans for 2024. You've mentioned that, and obviously who you wanted to verse. Two things I always do is the Mount Rushmore thing. We've done that. I always ask people for an inspirational message. What's one inspirational message that comes to mind?
Inspirational message that comes to mind.
on the spot.
Yeah, no, zero prep, as you can tell. I think life is what you make it. So
Yeah.
if you're happy with your life, then that's great. Do your thing. Don't let anyone take you out of your spot or talk you down. But if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're unhappy, it's okay to change things. It's okay to take that chance on yourself. I think you just have to be smart with it. You have to have a plan. You have to think your things out, and you have to be willing to work hard. But we only get one shot at this. So if you're out there and you just hate your everyday grind, and maybe part of that plan is, okay, I have to grind it out for 6 more months, and then I get this, and then I can do whatever. But we only get one chance at this, so make it what you want to be, what you want it to be, and enjoy your life, because it's too damn short, and we all deserve happiness.
Do you know what? So that was on the sport. I kind of threw it better myself. Well, I will definitely have you on later in the year if that works with your schedule and my schedule, and if you're happy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let me know.
Thank you very much for coming on tonight. Well, tonight in my time, afternoon your time. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Like you mentioned, we've been trying to get this for a few months now. It worked out. I do appreciate, mate. I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Hey, thanks so much. I'm glad it worked out, and hopefully all the listeners enjoyed it. And hey, check out a Royce Isaacs match if you haven't, and if you already have, check out another one.
Yeah, and where can they find you on your socials?
At Royce Isaacs on Twitter and Instagram, and I think it's Royce Isaacs 111 on YouTube. If I have some matches up there right now, if you want to check out a match or whatever, or just look me up on YouTube, and or if you have the New Japan app, obviously you can see me on there. There's the Rev Pro app. Deadlock Pro has their own app. There's a bunch of stuff. IWTV, all that kind of stuff. Check out my wrestling.
The king of the suplex machine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anyway, all the best for this.
Appreciate it, man.
Hope you win. I'll be rooting for you.
Hell yeah! Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Anyway, Royce, thank you. I do appreciate it. All the best.
Appreciate
Have
you,
a good
Jordan.
day.
You
Cheers,
too, brother.
man.